All right. So my goal is to share information that will be empowering to you and will also help you to empower your family, your friends. I love that we do these continuing education classes at least twice a month. So if it's something, we always share the recording. So if you have someone that you think, oh, they need to hear this, write them down, write down what it is you think could help them, and please share, because I am so grateful. I had a dear friend that kept inviting me to classes, and it has been such a blessing in our family's lives, because the world of essential oils is so vast. And especially when you add in the supplements that doTERRA has, there are so many solutions that most people just have no idea are even there. And you just don't know what you don't know, right? So I'm so grateful you guys are here, are investing in yourselves, to learn and empower yourselves and your families. So we're going to start. I love starting with kind of everyone taking a minute to really have some introspection here and look inside and think about, okay, where am I? And I love that this class is very much, if you have teenage girls, if you're in your cycle years. Oh, sorry, we're getting some. Be sure to mute your line, everyone. Let me see if I can do that from here. Not seeing that option. So if you guys don't mind, please mute yourselves so we don't get any background noise. Anyway, or if you're in your post-cycle years and you've already gone through menopause, all these things are still going to apply to everyone. And like I said, to men as well. So, but if you are on your monthly cycle, how is it? So on a scale of 1 to 10, right? We'll talk about, we have one of the girls in our team. I don't know if she'll be on, but she would actually pass out during her cycle because it was so bad. And thankfully, doTERRA was the solution for that. And one being totally comfortable and fine, right? And then if you're in your peri or post-menopause years, how are your symptoms? Whether it's hot flashes, whether it's moodiness, whether it's weight gain, all those things. And what's really interesting, you guys, is many doctors agree that a lot of times, if you are having issues and you get your hormones tested, a lot of times they have found that because our hormones change and fluctuate so much, unfortunately, testing results are not very accurate or helpful because of how continually our hormones are changing, especially women who have our cycle. And throughout that whole cycle, there's just this whole big change of, being low estrogen, low progesterone, and we'll talk about that, to where the estrogen gets high, the progesterone gets higher, and then it switches where progesterone is higher, and then they both go down low again. And so depending on where you are in that, and a lot of other factors influence our hormones, with our diets, with stress, with a lot of different things that can cause it to fluctuate on a continual basis. So that's why looking at your symptoms, basically my point here, is a lot of times more effective than even testing can be. Because maybe when you get the test, things look good, but because of other outside factors or the timing, things can change. So these are some common things that can be affected through hormones. And I would add like low libido into here. I would add skin, like brittle nails, brittle hair, sagging skin. Those are also some other symptoms of hormone issues. So now we're going to get to the solutions and some of the things that we have. But first of all, before I do that, I just want to explain a little bit the female productive system. And we're going to talk more about general body systems later that affect hormones. But for women in particular, this is what the female reproductive system is, right? And our ovaries are what secrete estrogen and progesterone. And that's important for fertility, for our physical and emotionally. All of those hormone being in balance, you guys, are related to how we're feeling and our emotions and all those things, our energy, our mental clarity. And then also, of course, what we're eating. And we're not going to talk a lot about it. We have another class on nutrition and supplements that we've got more content in, but just here I do want to briefly mention some things that really, really support women's or even anyone's, I would say, hormonal health especially, is going to be flaxseed. And we do, and remember to mute your lines, guys. Sorry, we're getting some, there we go, background noise. So diet can be really, really powerful. Obviously, I mean, we're going to talk about the lifelong vitality, because that is pretty much our body accepts it like food, which is really cool because of the way that doTERRA processes it, because it's whole food, because of the enzyme delivery system. But besides that, that's a really easy way, right? Constantly to be getting good food into your body. But things like flaxseed, we want to make sure it's ground because your body can't actually absorb the nutrients when it's whole. Things like fermented foods are really crucial. So kefir is a great one. Yogurt's not. I mean, you're still going to get some benefit from yogurt, but kefir even has a lot more of the good probiotics for our bodies. What's another one? Sauerkraut, but you want to make sure it's raw. So Costco has a great raw sauerkraut for a really affordable price. And just having a couple tablespoons at each meal. Jenica, do you want to chime in here? Any other like main, we don't have a slide for this, but I did want to mention it, they're not necessarily supporting just the female productive system, but supporting our hormones and things in general, which obviously our female productive system is tied to. Are you on, Jenica, where you can chime in any other nutrition ones that come to mind that you guys have used? Okay, she's not unmuting herself. So that's okay. We'll continue on. So anyway, just know things like fast foods, things like using chemical cleaners in your home are all going to also influence your hormones, your female reproductive system, those estrogen and progesterone levels. All those things are influenced also by our diet and our chemical exposure. So the beauty products you're putting on your body, the things you're cleaning with, what you're spraying in the air, crazy how much those things also affect hormone levels. And it's very, very backed up by research. There are so many studies that show the impact those have. So we'll go more into that in our toxin-free living class. But just, I wanted to mention that here because it's not in the slideshow, and I feel like it's really worth being aware of and mentioning on this topic of reproduction, hormones, women's health, all those things. So the lifelong vitality, you guys, whether I actually have my teenage daughter on this, whether you're in your post-menopause years, whether you're in your cycle years, wherever you are, whether you're male or female, this is really the foundation. There are many, many things in this that support your hormone levels. We've got and in fact, let me see if I can see by putting thing in my notes about this. No. Okay. Anyway, we've got so many things in the lifelong vitality that, again, because our body is able to utilize it pretty much like food. And I actually asked doTERRA this question because I don't like taking a lot of pills. I'll be really honest with you guys. And so when I started, it was hard for me to get on the lifelong vitality, but I had learned enough about how incredibly researched it is, how beneficial it is. The price point compared to other things is really, really reasonable. You're paying, especially if you're on our loyalty program, eventually you're paying about $16 a bottle, which for a high quality, 95% bioavailable product. And again, all those symptoms from things being out of whack in our bodies, which is low energy, which is trouble sleeping, moodiness, inflammation, pain, all those things are related, right? Cortisol, which is produced by our adrenals, is a really big factor, which stress causes our body to reduce more and more cortisol, which leads to weight gain, which leads to inflammation, which leads to lots of negative things. And again, this is all tied in with the hormones. doTERRA Lifelong Vitality is amazing to support all those things that are related to our hormones. There's over 12 different specific hormones that the Lifelong Vitality supports in our bodies, and we'll talk about the bone nutrient later, and that makes it more a huge amount more of hormones that it supports if you're combining it with that. But the key with this, you guys, again, is the fact that it's like a whole food supplement because of the way that they use a fermentation process to create this so that, again, our body is able to take it in at a 95% bioavailability. So that's huge. And in double-blind clinical trials, they have shown that the Lifelong Vitality is going to support all those things. You're going to have less inflammation. You're going to have less pain. You're going to have a better mood, less irritability, all those things, because, again, it's supporting things at the root. We're getting all these amazing nutrients, amazing chelated, patented minerals, all these different things. So this is the foundation. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because we've got a lot of other things to go through. But if you're not on the Lifelong Vitality Pack, you guys, there's a 30-day guarantee. I will say one other thing when I didn't quite finish my thought. My brain goes so fast that I sometimes just kind of like jump. So thanks for staying with me, you guys. I said to doTERRA, I'm like, why can you guys just not like make this in a shake or something so it's easy? And they have done the research, and because of all of the powerful things that are in this, there's not a way to make it be that available in our body in that kind of form, especially with all the omegas, the different things that you're getting. They need to be formulated this way for our body to get the benefit. And so, even though it's not as enjoyable as something like a shake, honestly, I feel like it's even easier because you just bring, I mean, even when I'm on the go, I'll have some pouches in my purse and just take it when I'm out and about. They actually sell this where you can buy little pouches. You can get the whole set in just pouches. So there's 30 pouches for 30 days. Anyway, but there's a 100% guarantee. If you don't feel a difference, you can get a full refund. My husband tried this kind of hit and miss 4 years ago. We didn't notice anything. And it wasn't until we learned the value of how crucial it is. There are so many doctors that recommend this. We, on our team alone, just we have a doctor and a chiropractor on our team. And I know the gal that's a doctor, she did so much research into supplements, and she said doTERRA is top notch, the best that you're going to get at the best price point. And I just love that that came from her expertise of, I think she looked into 12 or 13 different brands of high quality supplements. And so it just is a super easy way to just be giving your body what it needs on a regular basis. So anyway, love, life, and vitality. That is the foundation. And if you're not doing that, I promise it is worth it. It took about 2 months before I really was like, whoa, I've noticed my new mood is much better. It was a few weeks before I was noticing more energy. But we could tell you story after story. In fact, does anybody want to chime in that did have a good experience with the lifelong vitality before we move on? Just briefly. We love to have participation in these classes because that way it's not just me talking.
Yes. Can I
Go
share?
ahead. Yeah, please, Magali. We would love that.
Yes, I really loved it because the first day I took them, I already felt a difference. I felt like my body was so happy, like, oh, she's giving me what I need. And I really like them.
Awesome. That's amazing that you felt it that first day. You know, I've had a lot of people that have said that. And I think some of us are more in tune with our bodies than others. It was a few weeks for me before I really was noticing, but I've heard so many people say just that first day they've noticed feeling better. I love that. Thank you for sharing, Magali. So awesome.
Me?
Yeah, go ahead, Jenica.
Okay. Sorry, I'm doing this on my phone, so I can't tell if you can see
You're
me.
good.
So I would say that when I was taking Lifelong Vitality, what's interesting is whatever you're doing, it becomes your new normal. So I was taking it for a while. I was feeling really good. I didn't start taking it with already coming to the table with a lot of health problems. So I think that I am already naturally pretty healthy. And so after a while, I was like, I can't really tell if this is doing much for me. But then I ran out, and it was a couple weeks before my new shipment came, and that is when I could tell. So for me, I think that just kind of how I was feeling was my normal, and then my lifelong vitality ran out. And the things that I could really tell were energy. Like I felt like that afternoon slump tiredness again that I hadn't been feeling for a while. And again, that evenness of mood, those were the areas where I was like, wow, I can tell now that I don't have the lifelong vitality that was really making a big difference.
I love it. I love it. And I will say, and I've said this before, this has made a big difference in my marriage. Like my husband will tell you. And when I miss it, we can tell a difference. So I'm so grateful for this, of how it has impacted my life. And I will never go off it ever again. So the bone nutrient complex is something that for men and women, but especially as women start getting older, once we reach about 30, our body starts, the hormones and everything that our body makes that help us have strong bones starts kind of decreasing gradually, and that just continues to decrease as we get older and older. And so taking the bone nutrient complex is a really, really great way to help with, well, also this supports a ton of other hormones because of what's in it. But then also just keeping our bones strong. And again, diet is huge, right? Lots of our cruciferous vegetables are great sources of calcium. There's a lot of great things we can be having in our diet, but this is just a really easy, quick thing that you can do in the morning. And exercise is another one, you guys. We can't talk about bone health without mentioning how crucial, especially weight resistance has been shown to make all the difference in our bone density and strength. So, and what I love, I'm going to share one of my what do you call it? A hack with you, one of my life hacks. And I have had times in my life when I've been really great at this and other times when I haven't. But I'm one where I struggle to make the time to exercise. Going on a walk with my husband, I love to do that, or taking a tennis class or doing something fun. But something that has helped me immensely to keep my bones and my muscles strong has just been my rule of I'm not going to get in the shower until I have done as many push-ups as I can, 1 minute of my knee raises as high as I can get my knees up in the air, and then 1 minute of a plank. And what I'm doing is I'm only taking 3 minutes, but I will tell you guys, I'm sore because in those 3 minutes, I am pushing myself. And it really makes, I got to where I could do 20 push-ups, and I used to be able to do 0. I had to start with doing women's push-ups, on my knees. So again, this is something that everyone can do. Everyone has 3 minutes a day, I guarantee you, right? And that's just a little simple tip that you can apply and start to make that a habit in your life just to help keep your muscles and bones strong. But obviously supplementing can be another great way. And what's so cool and important about this, you guys, is so many supplements don't have the right cofactors in them for your bodies to really be able to utilize what you're taking. And another thing in the Harvard Medical blog, they had an article how it's very common in supplements you buy at the grocery store or even health food stores. They did a research of 3 leading memory supplements, and 2 of them did not even include the main active ingredient listed on the bottle. So it said it was something that was going to support your memory, but it wasn't actually even in the bottle. So this is a really common problem, having contaminants, having things in supplements that you don't want to be there, that are not supportive for your body, not even having the active ingredients. So I love that you can trust doTERRA, and you can also trust that they've done their homework, they've done the research to make sure you have the right cofactors. So the Bone Nutrient Complex, also, it has boron. It has the right 2 forms of different vitamin D. There's one other thing that's in it that helps it so your body can absorb the coral calcium much better compared to just any traditional calcium supplement. So really high quality. It's like, again, it ends up being, I think, close to $15 on your loyalty program once you're maximizing on your points back. If you factor that in, I think it's like 13 or 15. So you're paying maybe 20 or something, but you're getting those points back if you're ordering over 50 PV. Anyway, love how affordable it is. And that is a great, great support for anyone, especially women who get into their older years. So last supplement that we're going to talk about, I think, let me look here and see. But this is one that is super exciting, you guys, because if you are one where you're really struggling emotionally during the second half of your cycle, which is really common, and the reason why is because in the first half of our cycle, we're feeling really good because the estrogen peaks, the progesterone's higher, but then in that second half of our cycle, like I said, it starts to drop, progesterone gets higher, and we feel terrible, we feel moody, we feel sad or depressed or unmotivated. Did any of you guys experience that? Maybe, I don't think we have any gentlemen on here, but a lot of husbands can tell, right, when we're in that part of our cycle. And the cool thing about this phytoestrogen, you guys, is if you're taking that during that second half, what it does is it naturally helps balance that out. And I will tell you, my daughter, who is 16 now, when she went through puberty, oh my goodness, we were struggling at our house. Oh man, with just so moodiness like I had never seen in my life. I love her to death. And it wasn't even her fault. She's like, why am I crying, Mom? Why am I so upset? And it was just because of these stinking hormones, right, that we often go through. And so what's so cool about phytoestrogen is she started taking this. We also put her on the Lifelong Vitality, and that made a humongous difference. I personally have felt a big difference when I'm consistent with using the phytoestrogen, especially during that second half for me. But let me explain to you how it works. So one, it's completely natural. It's from a fermented soy extract. It's also from pomegranate seed. And then it's also got, let me see if I can remember what the other thing was that is on it. Pomegranate seed, soy. Anyway, there's one other natural thing that's in it that supports our hormones. Anyway, and what is so cool about this is if you have too high levels of estrogen in your body, this phytoestrogen goes in there, and because it's from the standardized soy, genistein is the other one that's in there. One of the natural, powerful things. So let me get, let's see, I just had my notes and I closed out of them. Where did they go? Oh, here we go. I wanted to explain it right because it's really cool how it works. So first of all, because it's from the fermented soy extract, it binds to beta receptors in our bodies. And that probably doesn't mean a lot to any of you, but beta receptors are really mainly found in our cardiovascular system and our bones and our skin. They are not found in our breast tissue or our sex organs. And so the problem with a lot of like regular soy things and other synthetic hormone supplements and things like that is it also binds to those areas where it can promote cancer growth. And there has been, you guys, it's just a huge tragedy. They had a whole, I think it was in the 90s, doctors were prescribing a hormone for women who were going through menopause. And it turns out that a huge amount of those women got cancer. And there was a huge lawsuit. And the thing was, there had not been enough research done and the doctors didn't know. So I love that because this is natural, it is not something synthetic, and the research has been done, it's completely safe. What it's going to do is if you have too much estrogen in your body, it's going to go in and bind to those beta receptors and bind these mild phytoestrogens bind to the receptors. And what it makes it so that those stronger estrogens can't go in and bind and make your estrogen levels too high. So if your estrogen levels are too high, it's going to help bring it down. And if hopefully that makes sense why. And if they're too low, it also goes in and is able to bind in areas and help bring that up. So because it blocks the stronger ones coming in, it can help bring them down. And if you don't have enough, it goes in and binds and help brings the level up. So it's really cool how it balances naturally your hormone levels. And for us, we really felt and saw a difference. So I love this one. It is really cool technology with how it works. And just really neat how we have this wonderful thing to help balance out the unwanted symptoms that we get. So we love this one. Rose is one more that if you guys are struggling with menstrual discomfort, which is a really common thing with cramping, especially in teenage girls, also not ovulating regularly, libido, emotionally, Rose Touch is incredible. We call this like the queen of oils, right? Because it just also, not only is it powerful for our hormones and to support those, and when you're using it, so if you're struggling with any of these things, I really recommend trying the rose oil. And you would just rub this on your feet, rub it on your temples, up the spine is a great place, the back of the neck, and also over your abdomen. Any of those areas would be great places to apply when you are needing the support. And this is just a really, really powerful one. We actually had crazy story of several kids who had what's it called, and this isn't related to it, but just talking about the power of rose. They had MRSA, which is basically a very, very dangerous bacterial infection that it's like a super bacteria that you can get from hospitals and different things. Basically, there's not a lot of ways to treat it safely. And rose was part of the treatment protocol that they used. They didn't use any of the heavy duty antibiotics or the bleach baths that they recommend or all the scary things. They just used, several different oils, but rose was one of them because it's incredibly powerful in what it can do bacteria-wise, but also emotional hormone support. So we love rose oil. If you don't have it, super powerful to have on hand. And then Jenica, would you share with us about the Clary Calm? And if you'll share, I don't think Cedar's on. I would love for you to share her story too.
Sure. Okay, great. So Clary Calm is a fantastic oil for all things hormones, women's hormones. It really just balances out your hormones. And if you just apply, they say that you can apply it like a week before your cycle, but actually what I have found is just applying it daily really helps regulate your hormones throughout your whole cycle. So it helps if you have heavy periods. It really helps to kind of lighten those down, lighten those up. It helps with PMS symptoms. It's great for cramps. Again, it's also great just for mood. So any mood swings or just, the shifting up and down moods that we have with our cycle, it's really great. And so I just like to put it on my abdomen. You can also apply to the bottoms of your feet, but I feel like right on the abdomen, right over where your uterus is a great place to apply that Clary Calm. And it just takes seconds, and just get out of the shower and put some Clary Calm on and you're set for the day.
And can I add to that? I do not like the smell of Clary Calm. Oh my goodness. So if you don't like the smell, just put some wild orange or citrus bliss or something over that. and that's going to help with the smell, but you're still going to get the benefits. And do you want to hear your story, Jenica, or do you want me to share it?
Are you talking about with Cedar or what story?
With her passing out.
Oh yeah, I was about to share that one.
Oh, okay,
by the way,
sorry.
you're so funny, Amy. I don't think it smells bad at all. But
really?
you and I, I don't think it smells bad at all.
How we all have different like opinions of how the oils smell, and something that smells awful to someone smells good to someone else. So that's why it's nice that, you know, you have resources if it smells bad. You're not like stuck with smelling awful.
You can always put a citrus or just a yummy smelling oil on top of another oil if you don't like it. But Camille says, I'm with Amy. I don't like the smells. Yeah, I guess different people. I don't mind it at all. So yeah, so we have a friend of ours who has really difficult periods, and I mean, when she would be on her period, she would pass out. Like the I don't know if it was just like the pain from her period. I don't know if it was that, Amy, so much as like just the heaviness of her period. Like she would literally pass out every time
when she was a teenager.
She started her period. And it was so bad, you guys. And she started using the Clary Calm, and she hasn't passed out once. I mean, just a simple oil, right? Rubbing over her abdomen. And it's totally changed her cycles. Like, I mean, obviously she still has regular monthly cycles, but her periods are not that bad anymore, and she never passes out. So just amazing the things that these oils can do.
And I will say, like her family's been using oils for I think at least 8 years. This is Annette's daughter, and so that's what that was their solution that they used that solved it then. And it does take being consistent. I will add. I mean, put it on in the morning, and if you're someone where you're having a heavy cycle, heavy cramping, you may be using it every hour for a day if you need, you know. But it's really a very like during when it's bad, use it more frequently, and otherwise, you know, maybe just use it morning and night. This also is really great for PMS, you guys. So if you're in the later years, this can also support again and just naturally balancing out those hormones. And again, over the abdomen, back of the neck, forehead, all those areas are going to be great for supporting in that. So anything else with the Clary Calm, Jenica?
I will just say I have really heavy, just to be personal, I have really heavy, like my first and second day, I feel like my periods have changed after my 5 kids. So it's funny. They used to just not bother me at all, and they've gotten pretty bad. And the Clary Calm, just like what you said, Amy, just use it as needed. And then the more that you get that support, like for me, the first couple of days of my period are super heavy, and it really helps. It really helps to just like lighten that up and take away that discomfort. And then I can kind of back off and use it less as it's getting in there and working in me. So with all things with oils, for a while, you may be using it more often until your body is getting that level of support that it needs. And then you can use less of it. So I just wanted to reiterate that that's been my experience as well.
Awesome. And I love that you brought that up. It's funny. I just realized this as you said it. I'm like, oh my goodness. Before I started on Lifelong Vitality, I also had super heavy, and now I don't. Now it's more normal, which is really interesting. And that's the only thing that I've changed consistently is Lifelong Vitality. So that makes me think it's related to that. But anyway, so really cool how these work with our bodies. Okay. So we're just going to go through this quickly. But our endocrine system is made up with all these different parts of our body, right? Our liver, our pancreas, adrenals, and thyroid makeup. And this is kind of the source of a lot of the hormones in our body. And so we're going to talk about supporting each of these things with, you know, again, all these things have a big impact on our health in a lot of different ways. And so we're going to talk about how we can support them to feel our best and just be in balance in our bodies, right? Anyway, so you can see a system of glands. It sends hormones to targeted tissues and tissues via our circulatory system is how that works. So the endocrine system, it also affects our metabolism, which again, our energy levels, weight, all those things are related. So it's so important that we keep these parts of our body really supported and healthy, right? They're kind of at the root of a lot of things. And oh, Jenica, I actually wanted you to mention before I go into the endocrine system, could you just mention a tiny bit about the gut? We don't have a lot of time, but gut health is also, they're finding so related to the production of our hormones, especially our estrogen and those kinds of hormones. But I think we'll do another continuing education class just on gut health because it's so critical to so many parts of our body. But Jenna, could you just mention briefly a little bit about the gut health being the foundation? And then I think we'll do another class. Hopefully in the next couple of months, we'll have it pulled together because there's a wealth of information that is so powerful.
It really does deserve its own class. Yeah. There's so much information. So I will try to be brief. Amy and I have done this women's health class several times where we have a couple of slides where we really just go over gut. So, so the first thing that I will say is, and just talk to the person who invited you if you want more information about this. But it's really important that we know that if we have enough, the proper amount of stomach acid, because how much stomach acid we have, if we have a proper amount of stomach acid, then our bodies are actually going to absorb the nutrients from the Lifelong Vitality and other things in our foods and other things that we are doing. So that's the first thing I mention when we discuss gut health is where is your stomach acid level at? And we have a really simple test. Well, I'll just tell you so you can take a note, but a 4th teaspoon of baking soda with 4 ounces of water first thing in the morning before you eat anything, before you drink anything. And if you're able to belch within 5 minutes, then you have enough stomach acid. Typically you want to be within the first 3 minutes of that. If 5 minutes have passed and you have not belched, then you are too low on stomach acid. So always foundationally, I say people check your stomach acid, and it's recommended to do that 5 days in a row just to get a sort of the law of averages, right? But funny, like I did not think I had any issues with that. And then I tested my own and I don't have enough stomach acid. So, and I didn't even know, but there are a whole host of symptoms if your stomach acid is low. And one is cracked and peeling fingernails. And forever I've had cracked and peeling fingernails. So I didn't realize that was a stomach acid thing. Anyway, just so for all of you, that's easy. We have baking soda, just a 4th teaspoon in 4 ounces of water first thing in the morning, and then time yourself and see if you can belch within 5 minutes. Okay. So
and it's
if you don't have enough,
I'll warn you guys, but suck it up. I did it. You can do it. It's worth, again, our whole goal with doTERRA and what we're doing here with our continuing education, with partnering with our customers, is helping you get at the root of the issues. And this is something that the reason why Jenica mentioned this with our gut health is that if you don't have the right levels of stomach acid, your body is not able to absorb certain nutrients, like zinc, several different forms of vitamin B, anyway, that affect a lot of other, it's not, can you guys see the screen normally?
No.
Oh, there we go.
Zoom.
Okay, is that I don't know why it's so weird.
It just shows your Zoom page.
Yeah, okay. Let me stop share and go back and try this one more time then. Somehow let's try this again. Okay, share screen.
Okay, while you're doing that, I'm going to say, Magley's saying, tell us the recipe again. So.
Oh yes, go ahead.
Okay, so 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda in 4 ounces of water. So you don't need a lot of water. It's just going to make a little pasty. It's not the most pleasant thing to drink, but it's fine. You're supposed to do that for 5 days just so you can see if there are any weed out any other factors, right? If it's totally drastically different one day from the next, but that's all it is. 2 ingredients, water, baking soda, 1/4 teaspoon, 4 ounces of water, and then time it. And you need to belch within 5 minutes. And the reason I always talk about this before we even go anywhere else, like I have a really good friend who's done lots of cleanses, which is that's a great